Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about specialty light bulbs, and we'd like to thank Dr. K. Pax for giving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes.
Isn't it Apple Podcasts?
Thank you for giving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and we'd like to thank Player FM for making us the podcast of the day.
What day?
A few days ago. We're no longer the podcast of the day. But if you're looking for a good podcast app for Android, playerfm.com. I don't think it's playerfm.com.
It's an app.
Yeah, Player FM app.
Wow.
Thomas Edison patented his first incandescent bulb in the late 1800s, and the first fluorescent bulb wasn't developed until 1939, and they showed it off at the World's Fair. The first CFL was developed in 1973, and the first spiral CFL in 1976, and they used a magnetic ballast, so it took a long time to start up, and it caused flickering. People just hated them. It wasn't until 1985 that the electronic ballasts were used in CFLs. Now GE no longer manufactures CFLs. IKEA stopped selling them. Walmart and Sam's Club are promoting LEDs rather than CFLs. And because of the stricter light bulb standards that are proposed in 2020, the lighting industry is guessing that the U.S. is going to be about 70% LEDs and 4% CFLs by 2020. So I stopped by my local home center in the Chicago area, and they have 4 4-foot sections of light bulbs that are LEDs, 1 4-foot section with CFLs, 1 4-foot section of 4-foot and 8-foot tubular fluorescents,
Right.
and then 1 4-foot section of incandescent, and then all the small specialty bulbs. So LEDs are definitely becoming the norm now for light bulbs.
It's good to know.
So now if you have a light bulb that goes out in your house and you run down to the hardware store, it's a much different shopping experience than it used to be for light bulbs. So if you had a lamp with a 60-watt screw-in bulb and it had a regular base, it was pretty easy to just grab a box for the replacement.
Ah, the good old days.
And now you need to know, what is the base type, the size, lumens? You got to know Kelvin. Are you worried about CRI? Do you need omnidirectional or directional? Is it rated for enclosed fixtures? Is it dimmable? Do you need wet rated? And now we got to worry about, do you want a smart bulb?
Wow, it's like a major project now to replace a light bulb.
It's wild though. If you look at some of these sections with the light bulbs, the packaging is just completely different. It's almost overwhelming when you see that section.
Because none of the words are like the same.
Right.
Everybody's got their own terms.
Right. Just used to be 60 watt, 40
Soft
watt.
white.
Right. The most common screw-in light bulb bases are the medium base, or it's called a standard, and
Is there a large base?
Yeah, mogul, which is the big one that's like an old lamp.
Oh yeah, we talked about them before.
So the standard base is an E26, so E is for Edison, and he developed the screw base sizes in 1909, and it's still the sizes they use. So the E26 is 26 millimeters. It's a little over an inch in diameter. The next size smaller is intermediate, and it's called an E17. It's 17 millimeters. So it's a little over a half an inch in diameter, and this is used in desk lamps or appliance bulbs. And then there's candelabra, so that's the small base. It's called an E12, so 12 millimeters, about a half an inch. And they use that for decorative lighting, chandeliers, some bathroom fixtures and ceiling fans, and also some nightlight bulbs.
Okay.
There are pin bases, and these are common on tubular fluorescents or small halogen and LED bulbs for lamps and recessed lights. And for the small flood or spot type bulbs about 2 inches in diameter, it's good to bring those in and match up the base size. You can get a GU 5.3, a GU 10, there's a GU 24, and the number after the G is how far the pins are spread apart. So
What does the GU stand for?
GU is general use. So if you're looking at a low voltage MR16 with 2 pins and you didn't remove it from the fixture, it looks exactly like a GU10, but the pins are completely different. So with the GU10, they have a twist lock pin. So the pins have a bolt style on the bottom. That end locks in place. So that's similar to a bulb you'd use in many hood vents.
Okay.
And there's also specialty bayonet bases, wedge bases, single contact, recessed contacts. So it's good to remove the bulb, bring it in with you if you're unsure, because there's such a variety.
Okay.
For floodlights and spotlights, you're going to see PAR and either 20, 30, or 38. It's PAR.
Does that stand for something?
So PAR is parabolic aluminized reflectors. But with these LED replacements, PAR isn't going to have the same meaning anymore.
Why not?
Because it's probably not going to reflect like before. We had to use that aluminum to reflect the light from the filament.
So
and
now
now
it means
with
nothing?
well, now they'll probably just use it so that you know the shape.
Right.
But the LEDs, they're just going to be pushing the light straight out. But those numbers after the PAR are the diameter of the bulb in eighths of an inch. So a PAR 20 would be 20/8, which would be 2.5 inches.
Well, that's just silly.
And the bulb or the glass size, it's the same with a standard bulb. So a standard bulb is an A19, so that A is a pear shape, and an A19 is probably the most common light bulb. The 19 would be 19/8, so 2 3/8 diameter. And with the A-shaped bulb, so the standard kind of bulbs, you have A15s, A17s, 19, 20, 21, and 23, depending on how big the glass is, or on the filament, or the the original
You know my
filament.
feelings on this, right?
So this is going to work the same way with fluorescent tubular bulbs. So let's say you have a T12. The T stands for tubular, and a T12 would be 12/8, which would be 1.5 inches diameter. A T8 would be 8/8, so 1 inch diameter. Math.
Yeah.
With the tubular fluorescent bulbs, you can now get LED replacements, but you definitely have to read the labels before you purchase one. So these will be changing, but right now there's 4 main types. There's LED bulbs that work with your existing ballast. So these are either called plug and play or electronic ballast compatible, but you need to look at it and verify what ballast it'll work with. You would remove the old T8 tubular fluorescent bulbs, you'd put in this new LED bulb, and its internal driver is regulating the electric current. And it used to be only T8s that were plug and play, but now there's a new group of tubes called universal ballast compatible for T8s and T12s. So these will work with electronic or magnetic ballasts, and these are the most expensive right now. Then there's also LED tubes that are ballast bypass. So this uses direct line voltage. You're going to remove the existing ballast. You have to rewire the fixture and connect the LED tube to lamp holders. And you have to follow the wiring diagrams because there's a couple of different ways to wire this. And it really depends on the bulb and the manufacturer and the type of fixture you have. And there's hybrid LED bulbs. So these work with the existing ballast, but when the ballast fails, you just remove the ballast and you rewire it, and then they run off direct current. So these are the fanciest. The circular fluorescent bulbs are now available in LEDs. Some require the old ballast to be removed and the fixture direct wired. Some require a power driver to regulate the power. Some are plug and play, so you're using the existing ballast, but you need to read the packaging because there's quite a few styles now. And if you have one of these old fixtures with the circular LEDs, an easy replacement is just to take down the old fixture, and they have new LED fixtures that have built-in integrated LEDs, so there's never a bulb that you have to change. You just replace the fixture and you're done. And when the LEDs die, in 20, 30 years, then you just have to replace the fixture again. So that's an easy fix for some of these old fixtures. When you're shopping for light bulbs, the FTC now requires a lighting facts label on most general service light bulbs. So
This looks like the nutrition label on most food products.
Right. But on a light bulb, it's going to give you brightness,
Yeah, it's
energy
not
cost,
going to give you calories, Josie.
life, light appearance, and energy used. And it's going to show brightness in lumens. So in the past, if you had an incandescent bulb, you would shop on how bright it was by the watts.
Right.
But the watts is the energy used. It has nothing to do about light.
Right,
So
but that's what everybody knows.
Right, but lumens is what you're looking for the amount of light that it's going to produce.
Remember
So
when we did our first podcast about light bulbs and I said that lumens wasn't going to catch on?
right,
That was like 4 years ago.
right.
Still hasn't caught on.
But they're really pushing it. So I talked to a couple manufacturers, and they say that they're going to start reducing the equivalent. So now you might see 60-watt equivalent
Yeah,
on
but
an LED.
I'm pretty sure you said this before, too.
So a 40-watt incandescent produces about 450 lumens, a 60-watt incandescent 800 lumens, A 75 watt incandescent, about 1,000 or 1,100 lumens. A 100 watt incandescent, around 1,600 lumens. And a 150 watt incandescent, 2,200 lumens or more. And it really depends on the manufacturers. There's different light outputs depending on the light and the manufacturer. But most of these manufacturers are saying that they're slowly going to reduce the 60 watt equivalent, for example, and they're going to start really highlighting 800 lumens. So it's easy to compare different bulbs with how much light they're producing.
But not all the manufacturers have the same amount of lumens, right? Or 1,100?
Yeah, you might see 60 watt equivalent, and they'll have different light outputs. So it's important not to just grab a package that says 60 watt equivalent and just imagine it's going to be bright enough. You need to look at the lumens, and the higher the lumens, the brighter it's going to be.
So we actually have a story that fits in with this.
So in your parents' garage, they have a single overhead lamp socket that held, I think it was like a 60 watt incandescent bulb.
Right.
So I ran to the hardware store and I picked up a dual socket that screws into the light socket on your ceiling.
Well said.
And now you have two areas that you can put in two bulbs. So your parents
it should be twice as bright.
Right. Well, your parents had a bunch of packages of old 100 watt equivalent CFLs. So they're supposed to be putting out, maybe around 1,600 lumens each.
Right. So what is a 60 watt?
60 watt equivalent should be about 800 lumens.
Okay.
So it was about 800 lumens that was there, and it just wasn't bright enough. It's one bulb in the center of your parents' garage. So I put in that dual socket, I put in the two CFLs, and it was not much brighter. But they were very old CFLs. I mean, the packaging was all yellow.
Well, I thought it was actually dimmer in there.
Right. So I ended up grabbing two new LEDs, and they were both 60 watt equivalents, so they were both about 800 lumens, and it made a huge difference.
Right, yeah.
And it's an easy tip, too, if you have an area that you want more light. Those dual sockets, right, and that's the technical term for that, too. So back to this label on light bulbs, it's also going to show the estimated yearly energy cost, and this is based on 3 hours of use a day. It's also going to show the estimated life, and that's based on 3 hours a day.
How'd they come up with 3 hours?
I don't know. I didn't research that.
Because it doesn't seem realistic to me that you only have a light on for 3 hours a day.
I'm sure they probably did an average between all the lights in your house, and it came out to 3 hours a day, Cindy. So this label is also going to show the light appearance, and this is the color of light. And it's going to be a scale from warm to cool, and the color of the light is going to be measured in Kelvin or K, and it goes from yellow to white to blue, and this is named after Lord Kelvin. He was a mathematical physicist, and his real name was William Thomson, and he became a lord in 1892, and he changed his name to Lord Kelvin.
Because why wouldn't you?
2,000 to 3,000 K is warm white, and this is yellowish in color. Incandescent bulbs are around 2,700 K, and most people like this color, especially older people. And this is good for living rooms, dining rooms, and bedrooms. 3,500 K to 4,100 K is natural white, and this is good for kitchens, workshops, and offices. 5,000 to 6,500 K is cool white, or it's called daylight, and it has a bluish color.
So why is it called white then? I have a problem with all these terms.
They're all called white?
Right.
So they're saying that this bluish color, so the 5,000 to 6,500 K is good for reading, it's good for studying, it's good in offices, bathrooms, for workout rooms. And research says that this cool white light, so bluish in color, helps you feel alert, it keeps you focused and more energized. But the blue light has a dark side, says the Harvard Medical School. They're saying constant exposure to blue light late in the day can actually affect your circadian rhythm and your health, and it can affect your sleep, the quality of your sleep. And all light is suppressing melatonin, but studies have found that blue light suppresses melatonin for twice as long. And melatonin is the hormone that's regulating our sleep and our wake patterns, and increases as light decreases, and it helps make us tired. It stays elevated throughout the night, and then it starts to decrease as it starts to get light in the morning, and that sets our circadian rhythm. So some studies are suggesting to stop exposure to blue light at least 2 hours before bedtime, and it's going to help you get a better night's sleep.
So you shouldn't have, the cool white? Is that what it's called? The light bulbs now?
Right. Cool is blue. Warm is yellow. So warm, good for sleep. Blue, bad for sleep.
So you shouldn't have that in your bedroom?
Yeah, so bedrooms, you should have a
wherever
light
you are
that's...
2 hours before bed?
Right, so around 2700 K is what they're suggesting for, the last couple of hours before you go to bed, and that's going to help start getting you ready for bedtime.
Who knew?
What's interesting is NASA is now using 3 different light settings on the space station to help with the circadian rhythm of the astronauts, because they're seeing 16 sunsets per day, and it was messing with their sleep pattern. So during the day, for general illumination, the lights are at 4500 K, which is a white light. There's an alertness setting of 6500 K, so this is in the blue range when they need to be alert and working hard and have focus.
Wouldn't that be all the time?
Yeah, you would think so. And then to get them ready for sleep, a couple of hours before sleep, the lights go to 2700 K in that yellowish range. It's wild, huh? There's a company called Lighting Science, and they have light bulbs to promote sleep. One of their bulbs is called the Good Night Sleep Enhancing A19 LED bulb. So it's 600 lumens. It has an E26 base, so that's a standard base. It's 2100 K, so in that yellow range. They also have a Sleepy Baby Sleep Enhancing LED bulb. It's 275 lumens. It has an E26 base, a standard base, and it's 2100 K. And they also have a daytime bulb called a Good Day Energizing Enhancing LED bulb. And it's 800 lumens and it's 5000 K, so it's in that blue range. The Philips company, it's PHILIPS, they have a bulb called Scene Switch, and this has 3 different light settings, and all you have to do is turn the light on and off to jump from setting to setting. So if you put it in a lamp, you don't need a 3-way socket.
Okay.
The one setting is 5000 K, so this is called their energy or daytime mode. It's 800 lumens. When you switch it, it goes to 2700 K, 800 lumens. So this is for morning and evening. The last setting is their pre-sleep setting. It's 2200 K and 80 lumens. And Philips also has a wake-up light. So this is an alarm light. It has light and nature sounds to wake you up. It slowly starts to glow about 30 minutes before your waking time. It goes from red to orange to yellow to help set your circadian rhythm, help wake you up naturally. Also has an FM radio, reading lights, and 10 different brightness settings.
Wow, fancy.
I didn't finish the stuff on that lighting facts label, so it's also going to list watts, so how much energy the bulb is using. And some labels are going to have CRI, or Color Rendering Index. And this is a scale from 0 to 100. 100 is how an object would reflect color under natural sunlight. So this is going to give you the widest range of color and clarity. Bulbs with a rate of 80 to 100 are considered the best, 70 to 80 good, 50 to 70 fair. So the higher the CRI, the better it's going to, the more natural it's going to reflect the color that it would look like under natural sunlight. When you're looking at the packaging, anything marked Energy Star, these meet the energy efficiency guidelines of the EPA. So they're using 70 to 90% less energy than incandescent bulbs. They're going to last at least 15 times longer, and they're producing 70 to 90% less heat. And these are tested by accredited labs. They're verified by third-party companies. For LED bulbs, you want to look at the packaging also for omnidirectional if you're using it in a lamp. So you want that light to spread out in all directions.
Right.
If you're putting a bulb in a pendant light, for example, you'd want directional. So it's going to focus the light down and out of the fixture. And many of these packages are going to have a diagram on the box that shows how the light's going to shine. When you're picking a CFL or an LED bulb, and if you plan on using it with a dimmer, you need a bulb that's dimmable. Not all CFLs and LEDs are dimmable. And if you're putting an LED into a fixture with a dimmer, is the dimmer rated for LEDs? One of the problems with LEDs is flickering, or they turn off at the low settings if you're using it with a standard dimmer.
Okay.
So you need a dimmable LED, you need a dimmer switch that's rated for LEDs, and you need to then set the minimum load level for that LED. So there's 2 types of LED dimmers. They're either going to have a switch or a dial to adjust that load level, or you're going to have push button adjustment.
Right. Didn't we just cover this in our dimmers?
Yeah, we talked about it, but not everybody listens to all our episodes.
Well, they should.
So the way you'd want to set a dimmer for an LED bulb is you're going to have a bulb that's dimmable. You're going to put in this dimmer switch that's rated for LED bulbs. You're going to turn down the dimmer to the lowest setting, and you're going to adjust. Let's say you have a dial or a switch. You're going to turn that dimmer switch or the adjustment dial all the way down to the lowest setting, and now you're going to turn on the switch. You're going to slowly turn up that adjustment dial until there's no flickering or the light turns on, and now you've set the minimum load level. You put your cover on, and now it'll turn on and off, and you can dim it all the way up and all the way down, and it's not going to flicker. If you have one of these push-button adjustments, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to turn the dimmer switch all the way down to the lowest setting, turn your dimmer switch on, and then you're going to start pushing this button. And different manufacturers have different ways to set this, but let's say it has 10 different settings. You're going to push it once, twice, 3 times. When it stops flickering, that's the lowest minimum level that you want set, and now you have to see how they lock that in place. So you're either going to turn the switch on and off, or you're going to slide the dimmer switch up and down. You're going to have to read the instructions for the manufacturer. But each bulb is going to have a different minimum load level.
Right.
So if you ever change that bulb in the future, you may have to pull off the cover and reset the minimum load level for the new bulb. If you plan on putting an LED into an enclosed fixture or a recessed fixture, make sure it's rated for enclosed fixtures. So the bulb's going to have a special heat sink to absorb and move heat away from the diodes. The enclosed fixtures, there's just not enough ventilation for a standard LED, and it's going to shorten its life. But the bulbs that are rated for enclosed fixtures, what's nice about them, you can use them anywhere. For bulbs you're using outside, look for damp rated bulbs. They're going to stand up to wet conditions, but just not direct water. If you have an area where you think it's going to get direct water, or if you have an area where you're using landscape lighting or security lighting, you're looking for something that's rated for wet locations. And these are sealed, so they're going to stand up to rain and snow. Heat is bad for LEDs. Most are going to fail once you get over around 185 degrees Fahrenheit, but they're not affected by cold. So generally it's not a problem to have LEDs outside. That's one question a lot of people have.
Okay.
Most types of bulbs have an LED equivalent. The exception is appliance bulbs for an oven, because they just don't like the heat.
What about a dryer?
Yeah, I don't know. So you're going to have to look at the label. They can't be in areas where it's going to get much over 185 degrees Fahrenheit. So the appliance bulbs, you have to look to see whether it's marked for microwaves, refrigerators, hood vents. But I talked to a couple manufacturers. There's nothing for an oven. I forgot to ask about dryers. But on a future episode, we can talk about it. So just double check what they're designed for. Shatterproof is also good anywhere there's going to be food. Shatterproof LEDs are also good for areas where, let's say a lamp in a kid's room, if you're worried about it might get knocked over, or anywhere a fixture might get impact.
Right. Or like my sister's house where her cat knocks over her lamps all the time.
Right, shatterproof. The company Meridian, it's Meridian. They have LED work light bulbs for drop lights. They're shock resistant. They also have stationary work light LED bulbs. There's also replacement bulbs now for halogen torch lamps. So those are those skinny two-ended tubular bulbs that you put in the lamps. And they had a real problem with catching things on fire in the past. So these are really nice. So low heat. But the LED equivalents I've seen, so I ran to a local home center, the only thing they had was 60 or 100 watt equivalents, so they're only using like 8 watt or 10 watt, where they're replacing 300 or 500 watts. So pretty amazing savings. The only problem is there's not a lot of lumens right now.
Right.
So I'm sure they'll be coming out with brighter bulbs for that. For vibration in ceiling fan light kits, you want to get bulbs that are rated for ceiling fans. For garage door openers, for halogen bulbs, you want to make sure they're garage door rated. They have a better filament that'll stand up to the vibration. If you're putting LEDs in a garage door opener, you want to look for one that's rated for garage door openers because they're designed to reduce or eliminate the radio interference with your remote control, which was a problem with the earlier types. The company Feit, it's F-E-I-T, has some very interesting LED bulbs. They're IntelliBulb switch to dim. It has 3 different settings, and all you have to do is turn the switch on and off or turn your lamp on and off. You don't need any special hardware or a lamp socket. So it has 3 settings. You have 100% light, 60% light, and 10% light. On 100%, it's 800 lumens, and it's 2700K.
So what's that, yellow?
Yellowish. So the IntelliBulb battery backup bulb, it's 600 lumens, 2700K, and this has a built-in battery. It's going to give you 3 hours of light if the power goes off.
Oh, fancy.
So that's kind of cool. They have their IntelliBulb Dusk to Dawn. It has a built-in sensor, and they have 2 styles. So it has 2700K, 800 lumens, or 5000K, 800 lumens. And then there's their IntelliBulb Motion. It has a built-in motion sensor, 450 lumens, 2700K. There's a company called Sengled. It's Sengled. Their SmartSense bulb is a motion sensor LED floodlight. So when it senses motion, it automatically turns on. When there's no motion for 90 seconds, it'll turn itself off. This is 1,000 lumens, 3000K. It's a PAR 38, so it's a floodlight style. And it has an E26 base, so the standard size base.
So what is this, like a 75-watt incandescent?
So 1,000 lumens would be, yes, similar to 75-watt incandescent. They also have something called the Pulse LED. This has Bluetooth speakers inside.
I know I have one.
It's pretty cool. So this has E26 base, so a standard base, 600 lumens, 2700K. It is a CRI of 80, and this is a BR30. So it's a bulged reflector. So it's kind of like that spotlight style, but it has a little bulge in the glass.
Right.
And this is just really nice because it has 2 JBL speakers built into it. So pretty cool for floor or table lamps.
Right. Gets great sound.
The Finally light bulb, it's Finally, uses Tesla technology.
No way.
So they're using electromagnetic energy that's lighting up phosphors on the inside of their bulb. So it's a standard size bulb. It's an A19 with an E26 base. It's 2700K. It's omnidirectional, and they have 3 types. They have 800 lumen, 1100 lumen, or 1600 lumens. And the packaging says it produces 66% less blue light than the average LED. The company PIC has an insect-killing LED bulb. So this is an LED bulb with a UV blue light in the base to attract bugs to a bug zapper. And it comes with a brush so you can clean off the bulb. It's 950 lumens, and this can attract bugs in an 850 square foot area.
Wow.
If you're replacing the bulb in a can light or a recessed light, you can get an LED directional bulb that's rated for enclosed fixtures, or you can get some of these specialized LEDs. So they look like a floodlight. They have an integrated trim kit, so you get a very clean look. You can remove the old spring-loaded trim kits and just screw this in. Fight has a recessed light with a built-in trim kit and a neck that actually adjusts to different depths. So that's pretty cool. There's also a light called the Cool LED light. It's COO capital LED LITE, and this has a spring-loaded shaft, so this will adjust to any depth can light. It's 840 lumens, 12 watts, and that trim kit is designed with vents so it keeps it cool, and this will work with 4-inch, 5-inch, or 6-inch recessed cans, so this is very versatile.
Nice.
There are vintage LED light bulbs, so they have the look of the old incandescent filaments, but the filament is actually just LEDs.
Right. So you'll see these when the bulbs are exposed in light fixtures.
Yeah, they have a great look. It almost looks like the old-fashioned blown glass. For a lot of the specialty bulbs, especially the new LEDs, you're going to have a wider selection online. A couple of the top companies to order online, earthled.com and 1000bulbs.com. And it's 1000, so the actual numbers, bulbs.com. And if you plan on recycling, getting rid of your CFLs, you should recycle. And you can go to earth911.com. It's earth and the numbers 911.com. You put in your zip code, and they'll give you the closest place to recycle.
Do you have anything else to add?
You want to get the best bulb for your fixture, so you should be thinking about the color, the lumens, whether you're going to be dimming it or not. Is this an enclosed fixture? And make sure you're matching it up properly. And on the new labels, you're going to have a lot of this information.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify mobile app, the Google Play Music app, iHeartRadio, CastBox, or Player FM.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our books, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. And you can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.